given that angle S is a complement of angle T, and the measure of angle S is 32 degrees, find the measure of angle T. So you know they add to what? 90. So the measure of angle T plus the measure of angle S equals 90. You know that the measure of angle S is what? 32. So what plus 32 equals 90? 58. Thank you. Okay. One angle has a measure of 2x minus 6, and another angle has a measure of x. The two angles are supplementary. What is the measure of each angle? So they add to what? They add to 180 degrees. So we're going to have 2x plus 6 plus x. So the two added together equal 180. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Okay, so I rewrote that. What is 2x plus x? 3x. So we have 3x minus 6 equals 180. Then you add 6 to both sides, right?
Right.
You get 3x equals 186, and what do you get here? What is x? Okay, so we found the variable here. What did the question ask you to find as well? So you have to go back and do what? You have to plug in 62 for x. So we have 2 times x minus 6. Well, x is 62. What's 2 times 62? 121 minus 6. So what do you get? Okay, and then the other one was just 62. So those would be your angle measures. So next we're going to talk about linear pairs and vertical angles. Linear pairs add to 180. They are supplementary. Vertical angles are congruent. So down here, this is a linear pair. So what that means is the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 180. So angle 3 and angle 6 are vertical. And then angles 4 and angle 5 are vertical as well. Vertical angles are congruent. So we can say the measure of angle 3 is congruent, don't forget your little symbol, to the measure of angle 6. And then also the measure of angle 4 is congruent to the measure of angle 5. Okay, example 6, the measure of angle 2 is 52 degrees. So if we know that, how do we find the others? Well, look at angle 2 and angle 4. What kind of angles are those? Those form vertical angles, and vertical angles are congruent. So what is the measure of angle 4? So what is the measure of angle 4? It's 52 degrees. Because those are vertical. So how do you find 1 and 3? No? So, yes, you have to look at these as, so 3 and 4 would be a linear pair. And they add to 180. So what is 180 minus 52? So once you know that one, you know that the bottom one is vertical, so you know that both of these are 128. What about example 7? What kind of angles are these? Linear pair or vertical? Vertical. So what do you know about vertical angles? They're congruent, so you can set these two equal to each other. So 5x minus 6 equals 8x minus 12. Just solve for x. Negative 12 plus 6 is negative 6. Subtract 8x, subtract 8x. You get negative 3x equals negative 6. Divide by negative 3, you get x equals 2. Your directions just said find the value of x. So you're done. X is 2. Example 8, solve for x and y. Then find the angle measures. So we have to go back after we find x and plug it in. So we are actually going to use linear pairs here. And I'll show you why. Do you see that both of these have a y? Right? And we're going to use that linear pair. What do you know about linear pairs? They're not congruent. They add to 180 degrees. So you would set this up as 3y plus 5. That's the first one. Plus the second one is 7y minus 25. Those two added together equal 180. So just combine like terms. What's 3y plus 7y? 10y. What's 5 minus 25? Negative 20. And then you're going to add 20 on both sides. You get 10y equals 200. Divide by 10. What's 200 divided by 10? You get y equals 20. If we plug that in, let's plug it in here. What's 3 times 20? Plus 5. So I want to find x first. I want to use the other linear pair. So do you see that this has an x, this has an x, and these two angles would be a linear pair. Those two. So set them up equal to 180, right? We have 2x plus 5 plus 4x minus 5. Those two added together equals 180. So what's 2x plus 4x? Six x. Okay, you were multiplying. All right, what's 5 minus 5? It's nothing. It's 0. And then divide by 6. X is 30. So then we can go back in and plug in 30 for x. If you plug that in, well, another thing you could have done, do you see that this angle and this angle are vertical. So they're the same. If that's 65, this is also 65. There are lots of different ways to go about solving these. And again, if x is 30, what's 4 times 30? 120, right? And then what's 120 minus 5? So this angle would be 115. And therefore, this would be 115 as well. How do you figure this one out? Well, what does this mean? That means this angle is 90 degrees. All of these together make 180 degrees. So we have 90 plus 50, that's 140, right? Plus another 40 will give you 180. So that angle right there is 40. And these are vertical. So that means this is also 40 degrees. And then this whole thing is 140.